Well, hello there. Welcome to another episode of Boss Up and Glow Up with Lexi Sample. I'm so glad we're back for season 2 of this podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about all of the things I learned in 2024 because 2024 was a year for me. It was honestly probably one of the hardest years of my life. I went through a very traumatic breakup this year. I had 3 deaths in the family. I had some friendship breakups. It's been like a whole whirlwind of things, okay? So today I want to talk about some very important life lessons that I learned in 2024 that I'm going to carry over into the new year and help me become a better person, help me get healthier friendships, healthier relationships, and just be overall a healthier person and happier. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's get into it. A huge thing I learned this year is some of your closest friends are your biggest haters and your biggest enemies, which really sucks to say. Like, do you have that one friend that anytime something good happens to you, they're very condescending about it? They're just like, oh, are you sure you want to do that? Do you really think that's going to work out? Or I wish I could do that. Like, they just don't get excited for you when things are going good in your life. They just always have that condescending attitude. I had to cut off a few people because anytime I would say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm starting this podcast again, they're like, are you sure? I mean, the market's really saturated. And I'm like, well, yeah, like even if it doesn't blow up, if I can even help one singular person, I will consider this a successful podcast. I'm not doing it to make it blow up and make hella money on it. That would be awesome. But I want to share my trauma, my experiences, my life with people because that can help people. I wish I had somebody like that growing up because I was going through so much shit and I didn't have anyone to look up to for that. So that's why I'm doing it. Yes, there's so many podcasts out there, but someone will listen. And I don't like how people are like, oh, are you sure the market's very saturated? And that also happened when I started real estate too. They were like, are you sure you want to do that? You know, you have to talk a lot. You know, it's a lot of work. Like, yes, I'm aware. But like, why can't you just say congratulations? One little word, congratulations, can go such a long way. If your friends are always condescending with you, they're not really your friends. They're your secret op. They're waiting for the moment where something goes wrong in your life. Like, I had this one friend, anytime something would go wrong in my life, she would pretend to be there for me, but she had a smile on her face. And I'm like, why are you smiling? Like, I'm literally ranting to you. I'm upset about this. This isn't funny. Why do you look so excited that something wrong has happened to me? And it's like, there's similar thing. It's so small. Like your friends who know you want to post on social media and they don't like your photos, but they view your story. They don't like anything or interact with anything. Like just a little heart to just show that you're supportive of what your friend is trying to do. It goes a long way. It's not hard to be a supportive friend. So you have to be very careful of people you allow into your life because some people really want the worst for you. And that's not a healthy person you want in your life. You want friends that lift you up, not drag you down. My best friend, anytime I say I'm gonna do something, she hypes me the fuck up. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. When I told her I was starting my podcast again, she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm gonna listen to it when I'm on my way to the mall. I'm so happy for you. Have fun with it. And she was very supportive. She wasn't condescending. She wasn't like, oh, it's oversaturated. Your following's not big enough. Like, she wasn't like that. She was happy for me. She was supportive. She listened to it. You know, it's little things like that to just show support for your friends. Anytime something good happens to my friend, I act like that happened to me. You know what I mean? I get so excited when my friends are successful. I want all of my friends to succeed. I want all of my friends to be happy. I want them all to be healthy. I want them all to have great relationships. I want nothing but the best for my friends. And I want that to be reciprocated. I want to have friends that want the best for me. So you have to be very, very mindful of that. So that's something you need to look out for is just those little condescending words that people use when they're not actually happy for you. They'll pretend they're happy for you, but they're just preying on your downfall. And that's very fucked up because they're supposed to be your friend. They're supposed to be one of your biggest support systems, but they're actually your secret op. You gotta get rid of them. And that goes along with another thing I wanted to talk about how some people are only meant to be in your life for a season, not long term. Hence, I had to cut a lot of people off this year. And that's also going for relationships too. They're in your life for a season, not long term. I believe in everyone meets for a reason, everything happens for a reason. I met this person for a reason, I had this relationship with this person for a reason. I will never sit there and be like, I wish I never met this person. Fuck this person, they did me so dirty. No, everyone was meant to be in your life for a reason. My last relationship was the most toxic relationship I've ever had, I've ever been in. And it was traumatizing and I was upset and it was not healthy for me at all. But am I going to sit there and say, "Oh, I regret it. I wish I never met this person. Fuck this person." No. This person came into my life for a season, which was my summer basically, and they were in my life and they helped me learn a lot about myself and my relationships. Yeah, it was toxic, but it really taught me what I want in a partner, what I don't want in a partner, and it made me respect myself a lot more. You know, they say sometimes you need self-love and the person, why am I getting a text? I thought I put my shit on do not disturb. Anyway, it really taught me self-love. I feel like I loved that person more than I cared about myself. And that taught me to not think like that. I learned so much. And it pushed me to go to therapy, which I needed therapy because my childhood trauma, I never really worked on it. So I am grateful that that person came into my life for that season because it really taught me so much about myself. And I learned a lot about relationships. So you have to think about it like that. And with friends too, not just relationships. They come and go, and I'm sure you've had a toxic friendship like what we just talked about, how they're never happy for you and this, that, and the fourth. They're only in your life for a season. It's important to think about that and never be like, "Oh, I regret being with this person. I regret hanging out with this person." No, there's always an underlying reason why that person was in your life. It was there for a reason. It taught you a lesson and you learned. That is the most important thing. If you're not learning, if you're not growing, you're dying. Think about that. I stress this so much to all of my friends. I stress it to my sister. I stress it to everyone I know. If something is not meant for you, the universe is going to do everything in its power to remove that thing from your life. It's never going to just sit in your life if it's not meant for you. Everything happens for a reason. If somebody is in your life, there's a reason for that. They're there to help you grow, they're there to help you learn. You need to always think about that. If someone is getting removed out of your life, if you're in a toxic relationship and you're crying all the time, you're upset, you're hurt, you're sad, that's the universe kicking you in the ass, telling you to get out of that relationship. Because if it was meant for you, you would not be crying all the time. You would not be upset all the time. It wouldn't be toxic. The universe is showing you that that is not your person. That is not meant for you. That is not supposed to be in your life. So it's trying to kick you in the ass to remove it from your life. And that's another thing. Like if you got fired from a job, that job was not meant for you. If it was meant for you, you would not lose that job. The universe saw something else in you. They saw that your purpose was not to do that job, it was to do something else, and they see your potential. So they are trying to kick you out of that field and put you where you need to be. You need to think like that for everything that happens to you. If something negative happens to you, there is always a positive outcome that comes from it. If you got fired, if you're in a toxic relationship, if you get laid off, like anything, evicted, like anything, there's always a reason for it. That means the universe does not think that's meant for you. And you have to go chase it and do something else. Like, I moved to California, right? And I was doing adult acting. I don't think the universe wanted me to be an adult actress. So it made me have a toxic management. It made me have a miserable time in the industry. I'm going to do a whole episode about the industry. I like doing my own stuff on my like personal site, but the adult industry in LA was not meant for me. So the universe made me have those fights with directors, made me have those fights with management, and made me miserable as fuck because it saw my potential in something else, which I've always been passionate about mental health and helping others. And I was in the adult industry. It kind of like happened. I'll explain it, don't worry. But this is not what this episode's about. But the universe knew that I had more potential than that. So they were kicking me out, trying to force me out of that industry to do something else because they knew I had potential in doing something else. That's how you need to think when something goes wrong in your life. Just be like, okay, it wasn't meant to be. Take it with a grain of salt. Don't get upset about it. Don't get down on yourself. just realize that thing just was not meant to be in your life. So the universe is removing it for you because you didn't leave yourself. That's another thing. Like if you're in that toxic relationship, it's hard for you to leave. So the universe does everything it can to make you leave because it wants you out. Another thing I really learn and I really like to stress is it is not selfish to put yourself first. I always used to think if I'm putting myself before other people, that's selfish. That's showing that I'm self centered. I don't care about others. Nuh uh. Because guess what, y'all? At the end of the day, all you have is yourself. People come and go in your life. So why would you put someone who may be a temporary person in your life before yourself? Now, if you have like children and like stuff like that, that's a completely different story. But I'm talking about like, for example, in a relationship, because I did this. I put this person before me in everything I did. And that person's not in my life anymore. And I set myself back so far with a lot of things because I put someone else before me. And you shouldn't do that. It is not selfish to put yourself before anyone because you are very important, especially at this age where we're trying to build careers, we're trying to grow as humans. Like, we don't know what we're doing half the time. So, why the fuck will we put someone else before ourselves? We don't even have the time for that. We are only in this lifetime one time, and you are born with yourself, you die with yourself. You are with yourself 24/7. So you need to put yourself first. You are the most important thing in your life, and you control your own life. Other people don't control it for you. You do. You have the power to become anything you want. So make sure you're always, always putting yourself first. Do not lower your standards just to please others. That is the worst thing you can do. I've done that so many times. I've lowered my standards. I put so many things I enjoyed doing aside, and I made unhealthy decisions because I was putting someone else before me. Like, I love playing tennis. I completely let tennis go. I stopped working. Crazy, I know. I stopped working because I was feeling ill all the time because this person wanted to go out all the time and I wanted to be with this person. So I went out all the time too. Like, I put their wants before my needs. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be out all the time. I hated it. It's unhealthy. I do not like drinking. But I put that person's wants before my needs because I wanted to be with them. I wanted to spend time with them. And it completely destroyed me. If you are doing that, putting other people before yourself, you can completely lose yourself. You can completely destroy yourself. You can fuck yourself up mentally. Being with the wrong person can really fuck you up, whether it's the wrong friend group, the wrong relationship, anyone. Toxic can really fuck you up and set you back. That's why you need to be surrounded with good people, people who are on the same wave as you. Like, if you like reading, you are all about health and wellness, but all your friends are huge partiers, what are you going to be doing? You're going to end up partying a lot and not focusing on your health and wellness that you truly love because you're not hanging out with people that align with you. And vice versa. If you hate health and wellness, you hate the gym, you hate working out, you hate hikes, like you hate all that stuff and you like to party, and all your friends are doing that health and wellness stuff, you don't align with each other. So there's no point in being friends with people who don't align. I'm not saying everyone has to have the same interests, you have to like the same music, but like you have to be on the same wave, if that makes sense. Like, all of my friends, we're all building our careers right now. We all love health and wellness. Like, all of my friends do similar things as me. Not necessarily the same career, the same job, but everyone has the same drive. Everyone loves the gym. Everyone loves working out. They like being healthy. And that's a good group to be around. Because I had to cut off all the partier people because that was not a healthy lifestyle. They didn't align with me. All they cared about was drinking and going out. And anytime they would hang out with me, it was only because they wanted to drink. If I can't call you and be like, hey, do you want to go get lunch? Do you want to go to the mall? Do you want to run to Target? And you can say no, like, I'd rather just party. I don't want you in my life. That's not a real friend. That's just a party friend. And there's a huge difference between party friends and real friends. And I saw that and I completely got rid of all the party friends because what's the point of having just a party friend? If I can't have a normal friendship and if I want to go out and do something with my friend, that's not a friendship. Like, I have to be able to do anything with my friend, you know? Like, I don't want to have to call people up for certain things. That's not good. You need to put yourself first, put your needs first, and then find people that align with your needs, or it's just not going to end well. It's going to be a spiral. You're going to set yourself for failure. It's not good. Also, every emotion, every feeling that you have has some underlying meaning. You don't just have a feeling for no reason. For example, if you're upset about something, that means you really, really care and you want something to change. If you're angry, it could mean the same exact thing. If you're happy, you love it. You're happy, you're excited, you're passionate about it. Have you ever had a situation where you were going through a breakup or something and then they immediately get with another person and that destroys you? You get mad and then you automatically hate the person? That's not because you actually hate the person. That's because you hate what the other person did to you and it's making you lash out on the new person. But however, sometimes some cases are different. Like, my ex cheated on me with this girl who completely knew about me and we've spoken, so I have a reason to hate her. But in any other situation, like my previous ex before that got into a new relationship like a week after we broke up, and I hated this lady. She did nothing wrong to me. She didn't know about me, like nothing, so nothing was her fault. But my ex got into a new relationship a week after we broke up. And now he's engaged. But this was like someone I dated in college anyway. But I was like hating on this girl for no reason. But was it just because I was jealous or did I actually hate the girl? When you are filled with hate and you're filled with rage, it's not because of no reason. It's because they had something you wanted and that really bothered you and that made you upset. So you were feeling that way because you wanted to get that. And if you're really sad, like when something completely destroys you and you're crying and you're filled with emotions and you're a complete disaster, and some people are like, oh, sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad, you're a bipolar person. No, you're not. You just don't always show your emotions. And when you are showing you're sad, that's just showing how much you care about something. I heard this from somebody. I forget who I heard this from, but I think I saw it on TikTok. And she was talking about how every emotion had an underlying meaning for something. And it is so true because anytime you are feeling an emotion, think about why you're feeling that way before you act on it. That's another thing I really, really learned because a lot of times before I would lash out, I would act before I think, and it would not end well at all. But now, oh God, my dog's barking. But now, anytime something's happening, I'm mad or whatever, I am not going to completely lash out. I'm not going to act on my emotions because I hate acting out of emotions. I used to do it all the time and it was just such a toxic behavior. It was not good. And now when something happens, I just sit back for a second and think, I'm like, why am I feeling like this? Is this a rational thought or am I going to regret this later? And almost always I was like, I'm going to regret this later. So let's just think on this. Let's just ignore it for now and make sure we are making good choices. Because before, I would always just act out of impulse and out of emotion. And it always ended in disaster. The biggest lesson I learned of all was healing is not linear. One of my best friends taught me this because I would always, when I was going through the breakup and I was going through multiple deaths in my family, I would be like upset for a little bit. Like I would have days where I'm just like crying. I couldn't leave my bed and I was just distraught. And then the next day I would be like full of energy. I wanted to get work done. I wanted to go hang out with friends. I was all excited. And then the next day I was like depressed again and I couldn't get out of bed. And that's when I really thought I was like bipolar. But my friend would tell me, no, you're not. You're healing. It's not linear. You're going to have your ups and downs. That's what a healing process is. You're going through like 75 different things at once because I was going through. So this is what was going on. So my ex cheated on me the day of my uncle's funeral. He died. And then we, like, stayed together, and it just, like, was the worst thing I've ever coulda done. I will never, ever, ever stay after somebody cheats on me again because it's just never the same, and it just gets worse, I promise you that. But I was dealing with the breakup, and then my great-grandmom was in and out of the hospital. She wasn't doing good. She wasn't really remembering, like, anybody, and it was just really sad to see her that way, and then she ended up passing away before Christmas, and then a week later, my aunt passed away, who was my great grandmom's daughter. So we were waiting to do the funeral until my aunt got out of the hospital because she had to get surgery, but then she ended up passing away out of cardiac arrest. So I was dealing with the breakup and 3 deaths in my family. And I'm trying to be there for my family, but I didn't really have myself together either. But I was really trying to stay strong and really be there for my grandmom because that was my grandmom's mom, which is my great grandmom, and then my aunt was my grandmom's sister. So I was really, because me and my grandmom are really close. So I was really trying to be strong for her, be there for her. And it was just really hard because I was already falling apart. I wasn't myself for months. Like, I wasn't myself in the relationship at all. Like, I was really unhappy, but I was just trying to make something work. And then the breakup just really took a toll on me. So I was dealing with that plus all the deaths, and it just was a shit show, honestly. But healing really isn't linear because some days I would just be completely fucking fine and I could sleep normally. And then there were days where I'm up all night completely sobbing, can't fall asleep, and I would have to take melatonin just to fall asleep and not feel. But now, guess what, y'all? I haven't needed that in a while. I've been actually sleeping normally. I haven't cried in a while. I've been fine. So I think I'm truly on the right path now. Like, I think I'm more on the healed side. I'm not completely healed, of course, but I'm more healed than unhealed. I was very, very, very damaged. And I needed to remember because I was just so confused on why I was very messed up sometimes. And then other times I was okay. But it's because healing is not a linear process. Any process isn't linear. Things take time, especially when it's your emotions, when it's your heart, and you're really messed up from something. It's gonna take time. So you can't rush it. It really did suck because I was like, oh my gosh, when is it gonna be over? When am I gonna feel okay? It's been only 2 months and I'm fine. Like, I'm actually fine now, but I'm healing from other things like childhood trauma. Bleh. But I'm pretty much healed from that breakup. So I'm trying to use my trauma to help other people because so many people get into relationships like that. So many people get into toxic relationships and they don't know how to leave and they're scared to leave just because they know they're going to be sad. Well, what my therapist told me when I was trying to leave the relationship, and she was like, well, what's the worst that can happen if you leave? And I was like, I'll be sad. And she was like, well, aren't you sad in the relationship? Aren't you hurt in the relationship? Would you rather hurt for the rest of your life or would you rather hurt for a few months? She told me to choose my hurt. She was like, either way, you're gonna hurt. Either way, you're gonna be sad, but you need to pick which sad do you wanna be. Do you wanna be sad temporarily by leaving this person and then finally healing from this person? Or do you wanna be sad for who knows how long? Because the duration you're with this person, you're just sad, miserable, and hurt anyway. So pick which hurt you want. And that stuck with me so hard. Like, that is like glued in my head. Anytime I see a friend that is dealing with a relationship like that, I'm always like, choose your hurt. Which hurt do you want? And then they're like, oh, wow, like, that's such good advice. This is why I stress therapy so fucking much because they are experts in this field. They know how to help you, they know how to drill things in your head and make you better. And I am so grateful that I went to therapy, which is another reason why I don't regret getting into that relationship because it pushed me to go to therapy because I wouldn't have gone to therapy if I wasn't traumatized from that relationship. So I am grateful that I went because I honestly would have never left the relationship if I didn't go to therapy. I would have been stuck in a toxic freaking spiral. I wouldn't have been able to block them. Like, it was a horrible, horrible mess. But healing is a journey. It's not linear. It takes time. Yes, healing fucking sucks. But once you get to that other side, you come out such a different person. It's amazing. Like, I feel like I'm back to who I was. I completely lost myself months ago in that relationship. I didn't recognize myself at all. And now that I'm like healing from all that trauma, I feel like myself again. I feel like I'm better than I used to be. Like, I am so much happier. I feel healthier. And I'm not losing sleep crying. I'm not losing sleep stressing over what someone else is doing, why they're doing this to me, thinking I'm worthless because of how I'm being treated. I don't think like that anymore. And that's how I was thinking, because that's how that relationship made me feel. It made me feel like I didn't matter. It made me feel worthless. But I know I'm not worthless. I know I can provide so much good quality in someone else's life and in my own life. I'm not worthless. Why the fuck am I feeling worthless? That was because I was damaged and I wasn't healed. And when I first got out of that relationship, I felt even more worthless for some reason. I don't know. It got worse before it gets better. It always does. And with anything you do, it always gets worse before it gets better. And it did. I was a complete disaster for the first 2 weeks, but then it was like an up and down, up and down, up and down spiral. And then now I'm chilling. Remember, it's not linear. So if you're in the healing journey right now, don't be hard on yourself. Allow yourself to have time to grieve, to be upset, because that's when someone is leaving your life and you're trying to heal from it. It's almost like a death. It's like harder to grieve someone who has not passed than someone who has passed, because you know they're still there and you're grieving. So you need to allow yourself to have that cry time, to have that grieve time, because if you try to be this tough person and not feel and hide your emotions, it's just gonna extend the healing process. And you wanna heal as soon as fucking possible. And that's what I did. I spent the first 2 weeks not really leaving my room, hiding in the corner, like crying on the bathroom floor, like a mess. But I gave myself that time. I needed that time to cry, to heal, to feel, to think. And I came out on the other side 2 months later, completely chilling. I started my podcast again. I'm grinding in work. I'm making a lot of money now, which I mean, I was making money before, but like now I'm like on my shit again. You know what I mean? Because like when I was depressed and all that, I wasn't really focusing on work. So I was just slacking. But now I'm just grinding and I'm going to go back to school. Like I am myself again. And you will be on this side too. You just need to remember it's not linear. You just have to give yourself time to feel and heal. And if you don't, you're not going to get to the other side. So just remember that anytime you're upset and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm bipolar, I'm never going to get better, it's not linear, babe. You got this. Those are all some of the most important things I learned this year. And I'm going to implement all of these things into the new year because they were all extremely tough, hard life lessons. And this year was a fucking shit show. And I'm glad that it's over. So I learned all that and I'm going to implement all this in the new year so I can avoid all the toxic relationships, toxic friendships, all this that. I'm putting myself before anyone, focus on my career, focus on glowing the fuck up. And that's it. Traveling, everything I'm doing this year is for me. And while I'm doing all this for me, guess what? The right person will come along. Once I become my best self, the right person will be there with me. They'll be there for me. But until I am my best self, that's not going to happen. And I think that's why the universe put those toxic people in my life, because they knew I wasn't my best self yet. I wasn't fully there. I wasn't fully ready yet. So they were doing everything in its power to just kick these people out of my life, kick them to the curb, because I wasn't cutting them off until I absolutely had to. And I'm so grateful for this year, honestly, even though it was horrible. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. I hope you took something from it. I hope your year was better than mine, and I hope your 2025 is the best year ever. Focus on yourself, grind, and you're going to be the best version of yourself this year. I promise you that. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Boss Up and Glow Up. Have the best new year. Happy New Year. This will be posted a couple days after New Year's, though, but love you.